in common. She, of course, is Brenda Talent, CEO of the Show-Me Institute. You are married to Jim Talent. I, however, love Jim Talent. So we are at least in agreement that we both love Jim Talent.
Yeah, just stay in your lane, McGraw. Okay?
It's certainly understandable. No, I might love him a little differently than you do, but I do love Jim Talent. And I'm very angry with him that he has yet to put his name back on a ballot anytime soon.
Well, you can start a petition.
I should start a petition. I should GoFundMe count or something. Bring some sanity back to the world. Okay, you are CEO of the Show-Me Institute. You've been the CEO there for how long?
For almost 6 years.
Almost 6 years. And I didn't know this. You have an office in St. Louis and in Kansas City.
We sure do.
Yeah, okay. And it's always good to sort of remind people what the Show-Me Institute is. So how do you describe what the Show-Me Institute is to somebody?
We are the free market think tank in Missouri, which means we study policies that are confounding our state and suggest free market solutions to address them.
Very simple. Let's talk about TIF and TIF Reform. That's in the news because now we know that Maryland Heights is getting ready to possibly give a TIF to a man who is building a $2 billion stadium with his own money in Los Angeles for the Los Angeles Rams.
That's correct. And they better act quickly because this new bill goes into law by August 28th. So what this new bill provides, which our governor signed last week, is that basically when the county TIF commission in St. Louis, St. Charles County, or Jefferson County says we don't want to provide a TIF, and a municipality such as Maryland Heights says, you know, we really do. The only thing that they can provide TIF for would be for the demolition of buildings or the clearing and grading of land, which really limits the scope of TIF. So we are on the road to reform in this area.
So this isn't as far as some people want to go, but is it a step in the right direction?
It is absolutely a step in the right direction, and I think that, you know, what we don't need one taxing municipality basically giving deals to the winners that they want to see succeed at the expense of other taxing districts. So like when Maryland Heights gives a TIF, let's say they decide to give it to Cronky and it would go through the school district, the fire districts, they suffer. The city may see additional revenues, but these other taxing districts won't. Of course, the other negative impact is that we as a region have municipalities competing with one another, basically to have the Walmart move from Baldwin to Ellisville.
Right. Yeah. Move from one side of the street to the other side of this street, and paying Paul to steal from Paul to pay Peter. What about this county TIF commission? Talk about that for a second. What do they look at when they're determining whether or not it's a good idea?
Well, I think the overriding concern for that commission is, does it bring economic development to the region? So they're looking at the region. They're not looking at one municipality competing with another. They are represented by broad interests. They're the municipalities. Some have representation on that commission, as is the county executive. So as a consequence, they are really looking at the economic health of the region rather than one municipality.
I do know enough to know that there have been many times, and I think many more times than not, where the county TIF commission has said, no, that's a bad idea, correct, and yet the TIF still went through.
Correct, because under prior law, the municipality, even though the county TIF commission said no, they could override that. And then they had this whole panoply of expenses that they could still cover with the TIF. Now that's significantly limited, and so I think we'll see less of this occurring.
You said end of August it's going to go
August 28th.
And so you're always sort of leery of back doors and backdoor passwords and everything else. Are there lawyers scurrying through this legislation trying to find a back door?
I would put money on it, McGraw. But I think Maryland Heights said that because they're considering different proposals that they would be looking at it in September. I don't know if they can move that quickly, but we'll see.
Right, yeah. The other thing is, I was reading something, money is so inexpensive today that developers can borrow the money at costs that are so inexpensive that they can do this all on their own without any taxpayer subsidies.
Right, and why don't we let them? Why don't we let the market work? I know that everyone says, well, everybody else is doing it. So whether you're looking at a municipality or you're looking at a state, we're competing with other actors who are doing that. So as Missouri looks at reform, perhaps our federal government should look at reform so we're not poaching business from one to another state.
But not everyone's doing it. My sister, and I've said this before, my sister is a city councilwoman in Scottsdale, Arizona, and she was telling me about some development they were making, and I said, oh, what'd you have to give them? She looked at me like I had 3 heads. She said, what do you mean give them? I said, well, in Missouri, if you're building a big box store, they usually get, and my sister looked at me, she's like, they would tar and feather me if I ever voted for something to give a taxpayer subsidy for a big box store.
And in fairness, some of our municipalities have done the same thing because bottom line is if a store wants to locate in your area because you've got a market, they're going to do it.
Right. Also, Stan Kroenke didn't get any money to build that $2 billion stadium.
And he's building it.
they were going to build him one here, and he said, no, I'd rather pay for my own somewhere else.
Exactly.
And now they're going to give it to him. It's just a crazy, crazy thing. All right, Brenda. I was just going to call you Brenda Warner. No, Brenda Talent, CEO of the Show-Me Institute. I got to tell you, where do you find these Joe Millers and these David Stokes of the world?
Well, hopefully they come to us, but right now we're looking for a few because there are so many issues we need to cover.
Right.
And you can visit us at showmeinstitute.org to learn more about what we're doing and learn more about the areas we're covering. So if you're interested in joining us, let me know.
Always interesting reading, always interesting conversation with the Show Me Institute. What's the website?
Showmeinstitute.org.
Showmeinstitute.org. We both love Brenda Talent here on the Big 550 KTRS. Thanks for coming in.